A pleasant good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our many followers of ELBC 99.9 FM and LNTV Liberia Live. I am Asiame Connie and I'm reporting for the Liberia National Television, and I'm coming to you live from the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So today is Tuesday and today is MICAT regular press briefing. So MICAT press briefing with John Levy addressed by Honorable Daniel Otesano, the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism MICAT, and Honorable Celeste Tyler, Minister of Transport, and Honorable Florence Ketika Jibo, Managing Director of the National Housing Authority. Honorable Sano will provide updates on a broad range of national development issues, highlighting the government's ongoing initiatives aimed at battling the lives of citizens, while Honorable Tyler will officially announce the new transportation fares for Monrovia in its own voice as part of the ministry's continued efforts to enhance efficiency and fairness within the transport sector. Honorable Jibo will speak on current development within the authority, including updates on key housing programs and others, while Honorable Sano will provide updates on a broad range of national development issues, highlighting the government's ongoing initiatives aimed at battling the lives of citizens. So if you are just joining, I'd like to say welcome. This is LNTV Liberia Live and ELBC 99.9 FM. I'm broadcasting to you live at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So stick and stay with us. Don't you go away as I bring you full coverage of MICAT regular press briefing.
I'll get trouble listening you. I get trouble listening.
So over the past week, Honorable Sano condemned recent attack on law enforcement officer, particularly an incident in Monrovia where a police officer was assaulted while enforcing regulations. And also on his side, MICAT has signed a memorandum of understanding with 6 government entities, that's the LHS, the Liberia Immigration Service Monrovia City Corporation, to coordinate on tourism development and national branding. In July 2025, he announced that MICAT is tracking and publicizing national development initiatives or rural electrification project in Rosas County is 60% complete, covering 30 substations and a 3-kilometer transmission line intended to serve 31 towns. So if I just joined you, I'd like to say welcome. This is ELBC 99.9 FM and LNTV Liberia Live. I'm broadcasting to you live at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So today MICAT press briefing with John Leby addressed by Honorable Daniel Otesano, the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. On Honorable Salif Tyler, Ministers of Transport, and Honorable Florence Kitika-Jibo, Managing Director, National Housing Authority. Honorable Sano is expected to update on a broad range of national development issues, highlighting the government's ongoing initiatives aimed at bettering the lives of citizens. So that's the arrival of Transport Minister, Honorable Salif Tyler, and Honorable Florence Kitika-Jibo, the Managing Director of the National Housing Authority. So once again, if I just joined you, I'd like to say welcome. This is ELBC 99.9 FM and LNTV Liberia Live. I'm broadcasting to you live at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So Honorable Tyler will officially announce the new transportation fares for Monrovia and its envoys as part of the Ministry continuing efforts to enhance efficiency and fairness within transport sector. While Honorable Jibo will speak on current development within the authority, including updates on key housing programs and others, and will be followed by questions and answers. So to follow, please tune into ELBC 99.9 FM, www.elbcradio.com, Prime FM 105.5, Abliji Online Television in Grand Bassa County, Liberia Public Radio in USA, and KMTV. You can also join the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism Facebook page live and various community radio stations. So MICAT encourage the public to stay informed by reading the New Liberia newspaper every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and keep following the Lena newscast daily for the latest updates on government policy and programs. So stick and stay with us. The press briefing. Keep following. That's the arrival of Honorable Daniel Otesano, the Deputy Minister for
Transport, Honorable Salif Tyler, is the Minister of Transport. He's here to lay out some details about the workings of the Ministry of Transport. We have Honorable Florence Kitika-Jibo, who is the Managing Director of the National Housing Authority. In time past, the Ministry of Transport has mounted this podium to speak. Of course, this is the first time the National Housing Authority is appearing here. First time on our leadership at this ministry. So we want to say welcome to you, Madam Managing Director. Welcome to the Ministry of Information. I'm sure we'll be here with some members of your team. You will have the opportunity to properly introduce them on the mounted podium. We also want to say welcome to Minister Tyler, who has been working very closely with the Ministry of Information in disseminating some very key key information about the transport sector. The last time he was here, when Air Ethiopia was being inaugurated, they also came here the other day to present a forecast on the weather. Now, other important information. He's here today to talk about, provide some important updates from the ministry. So we will provide the opportunity, as we have always maintained, the Ministry of Information is the regular press briefing, the premier platform for government information dissemination. The whole nation, the world looks up to this platform to get information on Liberia, and we can have help of the frequently invite actors in various sectors to come here and speak to the Liberian people and by addressing the press. We also want to recognize the Honorable Christopher Hayes Onanga. He is the President Special Envoy on Tourism, and of course the Chairman of the Board of the National Tourism Authority. So you are welcome, and of course our able IT Minister, Honorable Tony Takwa, is here as well. What is the welcome to all of you? Today is Tuesday, the 7th day of October, and this press conference is a very special one. It's a very special one because we will unearth more about the developmental initiatives that the government is carrying out across the country. But that is what the Liberian people at this point in time are interested in, what the government is doing. So usually before we invite the guests to the podium, we have some comments to make and to provide some updates, so I will now go straight into it. We see massive expansion in the energy sector of the country. LDC is connecting new communities. I'm told over 80 new communities have been connected. And the expansion process is across the country, not just in Washington County. I will follow some credible media practitioners this morning on social media. I see transformers and light poles have been shipped or transported to Buchanan, Grand Bassa County for the electrification of that city, which is very important. So the LSC is doing well. Even though some people believe that nothing is happening in the country, and we'll speak to that later on. But the LSC is doing extremely well. So let me just provide you updates on key infrastructure projects that are driving Liberia's energy future. The 20 megawatt solar farm. In October 2024, His Excellency President Joseph Mwambaka Sr. broke ground for Liberia's first ever utility scale solar plant. The project is funded by the World Bank and is currently being implemented by the International Consolidated Contractors Offshore. The project has entered a crucial phase with steel structure being erected and solar panel installation processing simultaneously. Once completed in December 2025, the plant will deliver 20 megawatts of clean energy into Liberia's national grid, an unprecedented milestone in the country's energy transition. Beyond its impressive scale, the solar farm carries strategic importance for Liberia's energy mix. The 20 megawatts to be generated will directly supplement power supply during the dry season, when water levels at the McCoffey Hydro Power Plant typically decline and electricity generation falls short of national demand. This blending of hydro and solar resources represents a crucial step towards energy diversification, stability, and reliability. More than 300 Liberians, including engineers, solar technicians, security personnel, and support staff, have been engaged on short-term contracts for this project. Notably, 33% of workforce are women, reflecting a conscious effort towards gender inclusion in the energy sector. This solar fund is more than an energy project. It is a statement of Liberia's commitment to transitioning to renewable energy sources, cutting greenhouse gas emissions, and aligning with global climate resilience goals. The repair of turbine number 1 at the McCoffey Hydro Plant. These are all steps that have been taken to stabilize electricity across the country. Sometimes you see the way energy is really stable, you want to say, oh, what is it that the new management team is doing that the other people could not do? So the thing I'm saying to you here clearly reflects key infrastructure projects that are driving the tremendous progress taking place or that we are witnessing in the energy sector. The repair of turbine number 1 at the McCoffey Hydro Power Plant. The McCoffey Hydro Power Plant, Liberia flagship power generation facility, with an installed capacity of 88 megawatts, has faced operational challenges since July 2021, when turbine number 1, that is unit 1, went offline, preventing the plant from operating at full capacity. The shutdown of turbine number 1, one of the 4 units, has deprived the grid of 22 megawatts of power. The shortfall has been felt across the country, particularly during the peak of the dry season, leaving the nation more vulnerable to power shortages and forcing the Liberia Electricity Corporation to rely on supplementary and more expensive sources of generation. Each of the planned 4 turbines generates 22 megawatts, meaning the outage has reduced national energy generation by 25%. In June 2025, with funding and support from the World Bank, the LEC initiated a comprehensive repair work of Unit 1. Okay? The restoration work are already in progress and expected to conclude in May 2026. Once fully repaired, McCoffey will be restored to its full 88 megawatt capacity, significantly improving Liberia's ability to provide reliable and affordable electricity. The rural electrification in 4 counties through the CLSG Rural Electrification Project, which is funded by the African Development Bank. The Liberia Electricity Corporation, LEC, is bringing electricity to previously underserved rural communities across Grand Bassa, Riverside, Bong, and Lima counties. This transformative initiative is part of the LEC's broader mandate to expand energy across Liberia, improve quality of life, and stimulate social economic development across the country. The project encompasses a 3-kilometer stretch of high voltage transmission lines connecting 3 major substations, Botota, Ikema, and Yikepa. Once completed in December 2025, the program will deliver electricity to approximately 165 rural communities, providing over 25,000 new customers and reliable access to grid power for the first time. Operational management of the new grids are being carefully structured. The Riverside and Grand Bassa grids will be managed directly by the LC Rural Electrification Division, while the Bum and Lima grids will be overseen by Jumbo Energy JEP, Jumbo Energy Power. The division of responsibilities ensures efficient management, maintenance, and customer service for all connected communities. The impact of electrification extends far beyond simply lighting homes. By empowering schools, the project enhances educational opportunities, allowing students to study after dark and access more learning tools. Electrified clinics and health centers improve healthcare delivery, supporting safer and more effective medical services. Community safety is enhanced through better lighting, while local economies receive a boost as small businesses and micro enterprises gain reliable power to operate and grow. So all these things that LEC is doing, they also have here the planting of street lights on the EFWA corridor from EFWA Junction to the Rabos International Airport. The EFWA RIA Highway, Liberia's key gateway connecting Monrovia to Rabos International Airport, is set for a major transformation. The Liberia Electricity Corporation, LEC, has initiated a 12-week electrification project running from September 29 to May-December 2025. The project will install modern street lights along the corridor, all connected to the national grid. Critical areas along the highway have been strategically identified and divided into lots. Lot 1 is from EFWA Junction to the Edward B. and Cassidy Barracks. Lot 2 is from Disco Hill to the Rabos International Airport. Okay, so those are an update on the energy sector. And when all of these things are happening in the country, there are some people who believe in their little cubicle. They believe that nothing is happening. And we don't understand that those who have their minds saturated with politics will think that tomorrow is the next election. And they intentionally play blind eye to all of the unfolding realities in the country. And they want to portray total negativity and just become doubting Thomases and cast doubt on the future of the country, all in the name of grabbing power. We listen to some of them. And they have made some very deceptive assertions about the country. If you are a political leader, it's good to revive your party. You go to an election where you are expected to perform and you decline. The economy will say that the diminishing margin of return. You decline. And in an attempt to revive your political ambition from out of obscurity, you are now caught up in what people call dishonesty. You're making a assertion that cannot be supported by facts. making assertions that run contrary to the facts. It is very much unfortunate for that political leader. I mean, it's one thing to be a political dwarf. It's another thing to be an intellectual dwarf. I'm not too sure those who are now presenting themselves as having a solution to all of the country's problems expect us to forget what it took us yesterday. Some of the people who now saying that in just 19 months of the Buhari presidency, nothing has changed. We have to remind them. For 6 years under the previous administration, we came together under the CPP. Because the state of governance in the country was so terrible. Freedom of the press was being stifled. Professional auditors were killed in the exercise of their professional duties. Political opponents were haunted. Critical voices were silenced. You all know what happened to Patrick Ona and Punch FM. You know what happened to Henry Costa, a radio station. We came together to rescue the country from perishing under the leadership of the former president. I will not want to mention his name. When King Labrenko went to the election and voted, this very political leader who said that he had given the former president red card, and in spite of all of the negativity that happened to the country under the leadership of the former president, he went back on his own words to endorse that former president. Today, you see the country is progressing. That political leader was here when sanction was reigning, the October reign, when the country was being blacklisted on the international stage. That political leader was here. Apparently, he got cataract on his eyes, so he thinks probably. So you now come to the public and say, oh, nothing happening on 2 years. Those who are misleading that political leader, they're not doing it well. You cannot use dishonesty as a pathway to the presidency. Because Liberians are here. They are feeling the positive impact of the intervention being made by the government. I need not tell you that the government has taken steps to address the bread and butter issues. All these interventions the government is making, price stability, availability of certain commodities on the market, those are intended to accomplish what we call macroeconomic stability in the country. And this political leader professes to be the one who has all of the solutions to Liberia's economic problem. It is just unfortunate. When you want to lead a country like Liberia, the way to go about it is to sit down the tutelage of people who understand why the country is enslaved. You know nothing about the country, you don't live here, you come, you go to a convention. See, nothing has changed. The last time when ruling party chairman were having press conference and saying that those who didn't support the government would die from starvation, you had a convention. The ruling party chairman was there. Something that never happened under the past administration. That tells you how politically tolerant the ruling party is. Chairman goes to a convention. Of course, you know that Moba Molu, under the leadership of the CDC, wouldn't have raised the convention of an opposition political party. It wouldn't have happened. But Ruto Tape was there. Because this government does not see politics as a do or die battle. It is a competition of ideas. What President Butler was intended to do, he's doing exactly what he wanted to do. He re-leveled the Liberian people with their determination. But because everybody tends to become president, yeah, it's your right as a Liberian citizen to vow for the presidency. But you have to choose your voice carefully when you put yourself at the level of somebody who is vying for the presidency. Where was the political leader when? I'm told he's from Maryland. I have not verified that. I'm told he's from Maryland. Where was he when people were riding helicopter or passing through articles to go to Maryland to make campaign? Today, in the height of the rainy season, there are testimonies available all over the place. Some say they are taking 4 hours from here to the southeast. Some say 6 hours. I listened to a friend who left Monrovia on Friday evening. He said he took 4 hours to reach Grangeville County. Senators, business women are testifying along the corridor. But this political leader believes that nothing good is happening because he's now president of the country. Why do we build ourselves on this kind of deceptive platform that is not sustainable? Why? The time will come for campaign. But if you went to a talk show, the journalist asks you, if you don't have the information, do not make sweeping statements. There's a same political leader who said he can raise the budget to $1 billion. When they ask him, he said, oh, again, it's aspirational. He will not tell you how. But he professes to have solutions to all the problems in the country. When they were in opposition, they organized a protest called Retire Suffering. He was leader of the CPP, or whatever you call it. They organized a protest in Retire Suffering. They were tired suffering, and somebody stole the tired suffering money. Somebody stole the money. What became of that case? We don't know. You have a president today who has led by example in striking the role of deterrent against those who have swayed from the values that he shared as a leader of the country. President Butler has not condoned corruption. Even though allegations, not conviction, but President Butler has not condoned people who are accused of corruption to be serving his government. Yes, somebody will argue that, oh, nobody has been convicted, but the president does not control the courts. He does not control the courts. What the public will judge the president by is the action he takes in striking the role of deterrent against those who engage in alleged acts of corruption. Of course, President Butler has done that. So I guess not to say to this political leader that he has to be careful. Being careful means that you carefully choose your choice of words. For him to have said that nothing good has happened to the country in the last 2 years, it was just unfortunate. And I don't think somebody who wants to become president of our country should be dwelling in dishonesty. Cannot become an epitome of contradiction, and you won't trust you with national leadership. The National Fire Service has released the final report on the fire incidents at the residence of the NSA boss, Honorable Prince C. Johnson. The Liberia National Fire Service, through the Ministry of Justice, has concluded its investigation into the residential fire incident that occurred on September 21st, 2025 at approximately 0300 hours at the residence of retired General Prince C. Johnson. The fire originated, according to the report, the fire originated from batteries, solar panel batteries that were overheating at the residence of Mr. Johnson. The fire originated in the batteries of the solar power system after the batteries overheated, producing an electrical shock socket. These contributing factors include heavy accumulation of combustible materials around the battery heavy accumulation of combustible materials around the battery installation significantly accelerated the fire spread. No fire safety equipment, example, portable extinguisher, smoke detector, or fixed suppression system was found at the premises. Initial attempt to control the fire blaze by occupants and security personnel were unsuccessful. These efforts were limited and at one point shifted towards securing parked vehicle rather than extinguishing the ignited batteries. Attempts to isolate the power supply were made, but the lack of appropriate extinguishing materials allowed the fire to progress. There were no signs of foul play. The investigation found no evidence supporting claims of deliberate ignition. The Liberia National Fire Service investigation concludes that the fire was caused by a battery overheating that led to an electrical shock socket at the battery terminus, which subsequently ignited adjacent combustible materials. So that is the conclusion of the investigation. They say the fire started from the solar panel battery. Because they have a combustible materials around the battery. So when it overheated, it caused fire. There was no way for them to extinguish the fire because there was no fire extinguisher, no safety equipment in the house. It's an unfortunate situation. It's an unfortunate situation, but we have to take this thing seriously. The fire service was, it can be an indication in the advise members of the public to take seriously the installation of smoke detectors, fire extinguishers of their homes. The Ministry of Gender and Social Protection reaffirms its unwavering commitment to ensuring transparency, accountability, and justice in the ongoing investigation of the alleged rape case involving former Deputy Minister of Living Spoke, Mr. J. Brian McGill. While the Ministry recognizes the heightening public concern and the outrage surrounding this matter, the Ministry strongly urges the public and all stakeholders and the media to refrain from politicizing, prejudging, and sensationalizing the outcome of the investigation. The investigative process is at a critical phase as the Ministry legal team is working in close coordination with the Liberia National Police to ensure that due process is diligently observed. Every effort is being made to guarantee that the investigation remains independent, transparent, and completely free from external influences. The Ministry assures the public that no stone will be left unturned in the pursuit of justice. In our development, the Ministry extends its profound appreciation to the residents of Bartown community on Bushra Island for a vigilant and courageous intervention in the recent alleged rape involving the staff of the Ministry of Agriculture. Such community solidarity and proactive action are commendable and serve as a vital example of citizen responsibility in combating sexual violence. The Central Bank of Liberia has issued a new directive on routing of government revenue collection and government processing G2P payment through the National Electronic Payment Source Inclusive Instant Payment System. Effective October 27, 2025, all government payments to the beneficiary, including salaries, pensions, and social benefits, and other transfers via mobile money, will be routed exclusively through the MEPS RRPS system. Effective December 1st, 2025, all government revenue collection via mobile money, including taxes, fees, levies, and related charges will be routed exclusively through the NEPS RRPS. This move is aimed at promoting fiscal transparency, strengthening public financial management, and reducing leakages, enhancing efficiency through automated clearing and settlement at the central bank, ensuring a level playing field among mobile money and digital financial service providers, align Liberia's payment ecosystem with international best practices. The CBL will strictly enforce compliance, and failure to adhere will attract regulatory action as provided by law. This morning, the President of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Nwabwaka, made 2 initial appointments within the newly established Liberia National Tourism Authority. The appointment takes immediate effect. The appointments followed the enactment of the 2025 Liberia National Tourism Act, which established the Liberia National Tourism Authority on Title 30 of the Public Authorities Law. The establishment of the National Tourism Authority marks a major step towards revitalizing Liberia's tourism sector, promoting national heritage, and enhancing the country's image as a unique travel and investment destination. The new leadership team is expected to drive strategic programs that will strengthen research, planning, and development within the tourism industry. The Liberian leader expressed confidence in the appointee's ability to deliver on the mandate of the authority and contribute meaningfully to the government's agenda for inclusive development. On that note, I will now pause as I invite to the podium the Honorable Minister of Transport, Honorable Kangar-Lawrence, who will be followed by the Managing Director of the National Enforcement Authority.
So that was the voice of Honorable Daniel Otesano, the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs at MICAT. Next is Honorable Salif Tyler, Minister of Transport. So if you're just joining our latest welcome. This is the LBC 99.9 FM and LNTV Liberia Live. Keep following.
Few copies of the test, the national test that is being issued at the Ministry of Transport. Today, through a stakeholder approach, good afternoon, everyone. Officials of government, members of the press. About 30 days ago, the Ministry of Transport, along with inter-sectoral stakeholders, engaged in an exercise that led to the national transportation fares for the entire country. We are pleased this day to release the fares to the public. We see that the price of petroleum has dropped, and also we see that consumer price index for commercial vehicles, repairs, and other activity has stabilized and has dropped as well. But before I go further, I would like to do a few introductions. Madam Catherine Lincoln, please stand for the press, is currently our Director for Statistics Research, will fall directly into the domain. And this is a stakeholder approach, so we invite all the unions to be part of the activities. So the president of the Liberia Federation of Transport Union is here with us. They are integral part in the negotiation. The price analysis book from Commerce Ministry, partner with us as well, and we released it so it's an official from there. So we are calling the Ministry of Transport, it's calling the government laboratory, the Ministry of Transport, is calling on all commercial drivers to adhere to the fare structure. When you look at this brochure, you see there's a number there that when you are not charged fairly by commercial drivers, you can report that by calling that number, or you can also report to the nearest police officer. For taxis, the first offense is $100 United States dollars for non-compliance, and for buses, the first offense is $200 United States dollars for non-compliance. And the second offense, which doubles for the various categories I just named. Also, there's another fare structure that we come up with, which has to do with the movement of petroleum products around the country. I mean, when you're moving 5,000 gallons to Kakata, what is the fare that you should be charging? We'll be going through that and announcing pretty succinctly in a few of the major cities. So with that, I will begin with the tankers first. So, and you have copies of this, members of the press. So if you have an oil tanker that is moving 10,000 gallons of fuel to Buchanan, there is a charge. But I'll start with Bomi, because the first county on this listing, from Monrovia to Tottenburg, the approved fare now is now 10 cents per gallon, United States dollars. So if you're moving 5,000 gallons, you can only charge 10 cents per gallon. From Monrovia to Bong Mines, you can only charge 10 cents per gallon. From Monrovia to Totota, you can only charge 10 cents per gallon. From Monrovia to Buchanan, you can only charge 18 cents per gallon. From Monrovia to Robertsport, you can charge 11 cents per gallon. From Monrovia to Zwedru, 72 cents per gallon. From Monrovia to Sastan, $1 per gallon. From Monrovia to Bonyama, 62 cents per gallon. From Monrovia to Zozo, 34 cents per gallon. Anywhere around central Monrovia, you can only charge 5 cents per gallon in the movement of those products. From Monrovia to Sanicole, 35 cents a gallon. From Monrovia to Tafeta is 58 cents per gallon. From Monrovia to Greenville is 88 cents per gallon. And we will share this with the public. I can't go and name all of the cities in our country. That would take a lot of time. But copies of this will be shared with you and you can do your publication. So I will move now to taxes, fares around the country. Let me zoom this in. This is the Leeward County, by the way. So from Monrovia to Obanga, the approved fare is $900 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Tottenburg, the approved fare is $600 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Bar, $550 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Bong Mines, $700 Liberian dollars. This is for taxis. From Monrovia to Wiala, $500 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Totota, $700 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Swakoko, $900 Liberian dollars. And I'll move on to Bapolu County. From Monrovia to Bapolu City is about $1,400 on that trip, on the fares. From Monrovia to Buchanan, $900 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Sino, Greenville City is $5,000 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Robertsport, $1,250 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Zwedru, again, $7,000 Liberian dollars. But I want the public to know that we have decreased the fares across the country by 20%. Just about. From Monrovia to Bonyama is $4,000 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Zozo is $2,500 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Kakata is $300 Liberian. From Monrovia anywhere to Dwazon is $150 Liberian. This is for taxis only. From Monrovia to Banga, from Kakata to Banga is $700 Liberian. From Monrovia to Harper is $11,000 Liberian. From Monrovia to Ganta is $1,500 Liberian. From Ganta to Harper is $9,000 Liberian. So let me take one city, Riverside, from Monrovia to Sesto City is $3,500 Liberian. So this will be shared with you again, and there's penalties for drivers that will violate the fares, and there's the phone number, or you can contact the nearest police for action. Also, to enforce this, the Ministry of Transport inspectors will be at various points around Monrovia and around the country, as well as the Liberia National Police. So if you are overcharged and you have copies of the fare, tell the driver this is what I'm paying you. If he insists, you call the police or you take a picture of his license plate, and the government authorities will take action and will find them as appropriate. Okay, let me move on. 1 second. So for buses, from Monrovia to Tokmabert, $300. From Monrovia to Bar, which is the border between Cape Mount and Bombing, $300. From Monrovia to Banga, $600. From Monrovia to Bombman, $400. From Monrovia to Swakoko, $600. From Monrovia to Papulu City on the bus, the approved fare now is $1,000 Liberian. From Monrovia to Buchanan City is $500. From Monrovia to Rabasport, $700 Liberian. From Monrovia to Kakata is $150 Liberian. From Monrovia to Harper is $7,500 Liberian. So these are the fares we would like to announce to the public. Subsequently, we'll be announcing the fares for flatbed trucks that move flour and other rice and other commodities from one point to another, and we'll be announcing the short distance fares like Monrovia to Broad Street and Monrovia to other places in the soonest possible time. The reason why this is paramount to the government and paramount to the Ministry of Transport is that we know our fare structure is a bread and butter issue, right? So you have a lady of 3 children, she has to transport her children from, let's say she lives in New Georgia Junction, she has to transport them to come to town to go to school every day. There's a cost, and that cost affects her disposable income, meaning large money in her pocket. The same way when she goes to the market, the large amount of money is quite affected. So this is a bread and butter issue. We at the Ministry of Transport is excited and elated to carry out our statutory duty to let the public know that this is the fare structure that we have announced and approved. And by the way, this takes immediate effect. Let me repeat that. This takes immediate effect. All commercial drivers, we are, I won't say warning you, but we are encouraging you to adhere to these fares. We work with your unions. Your unions is part of this discussion. They come and we work together, we go on the field. Our team go on the field and gather all the data. You work with us and we go back to your unions that go to you and sit with you, and we agree together. So there will be no overcharge. When there's overcharge, there will be consequences which are legal. So at this point, I would like to take a few questions.
So do you have questions? The minister has another engagement at 10.
I'll be quiet.
Has another engagement at 10. So if you have questions, let's come before Kamala. We'll take a question briefly. You respond. Go have another speaker. We'll take it.
So there will be a question.
The minister spoke on transport fare.
So,
Anything contrary to transport fare, your question will be thrown out. Please come.
Yeah, thank you, Minister. My name is Renzi Estiwia. I report for the Liberia News Agency. Thank you for the new rules and regulations. But the citizen concern is there. Yes, now in the past government and now, you've been setting up transport fares, and these things are not been taking effect. We wasted people and drivers fighting over transport fares. Now, how prepared are you to enforce the new rules and regulations?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. T.
No, that's just four. Then you respond. Yeah. How prepared are you to execute?
Minister, I'm Aruna Ekwepogi, and I report for Blaze FM.
Will you repeat your name, please?
Aruna Ekwepogi, and I report for Blaze FM. Yeah. My concern have to do with, it is a great step that your ministry have taken to reduce transportation fares in order for citizens to be able to go back and forth with their daily activities. But do your ministry take into consideration the economic hardship? Because let's say, for instance, a driver who, because you are doing a business, you need to make profit, and then you need to take servicing into consideration as well. Buying gas is one thing, and also servicing of your vehicle. So how can you reconcile that? How can you reconcile that?
What's your question?
My question is...
You got it, Minister?
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I have your seat? Have person.
So, my name is Joseph Salif, and I report for ABC Radio. Mr. Minister, the regulation of transportation fare is a good thing, but I want to know, did the ministry conduct a survey to look at the sustainability of this, or is it just a quick impact project that after 2 months we'll go back to the same regular prices?
Thank you. Next person.
Okay. My name is Joy Mighty Moore from Sky FM and the Liberia First Media Watch. Recently, I had an encounter with the head for the Montserrat branch for the Federation of the Road Transport Union. And then he mentioned something about having a discussion with Transport Ministry on the same transportation fares. But then I believe that we can meet up to the citizen needs, but what about the drivers? Because normally they can receive money from the drivers, and I think for every passenger that they receive, or maybe per car or whatsoever, and the fare that they take is $900 Liberian per car. So what happens in that case? Because they mentioned that they will not reduce the money. What do you have to say concerning that?
Allegedly.
Okay, 4 questions, right?
Yes.
Can I respond to the first one? Yes. All right, Mr. T. We have asked how prepared the Ministry of Transport is in terms of the enforcement of the fares. You know, the thing about MOT is that, and that is the Ministry of Transport, the acronym rather. When we are doing our enforcement, you see how the country is. You see how we are rigid when we do those work. So those same efforts will be applied to the fares throughout the country. But again, we cannot be everywhere. So it is your civil duty to let us know when those issues arise. It is your civil duty to send out the license plate numbers of those buses or taxis or trucks that will not adhere to those these regulations. Again, we are prepared. The Liberia National Police is prepared as well. Mr. Arena talked about the economic hardship of drivers. So the model that goes into the approved fares calculations is not done only by the price of gasoline or petroleum products. It's done in what the Commerce Ministry is here. We look at the consumer price index of vehicle-related expenses, these other than petroleum prices. For example, fluids, there are other fluids that go into your vehicle. So we look at brake fluid, we look at other, the cost of engine oils. We also look at parts. When I mean parts, I'm talking about your brakes, your tires, and those things that can call wear and tear on your vehicles. We look at those as well. So all of those is embedded in the model. And this was not done by just throwing the dice. This was done, when I started, I told you it was 30 days. Our team went out, they do their data analysis, they do traffic count, the Commerce Ministry is with us. They give us the price index, we work together, we get the unions in there, the federation people are here, the truckers union, we're doing the tankers union, and the LPRC was all with us. So this is a collective effort. We just lead on the process and provide the guidance and provide the modeling that goes in. Then it goes back to the unions for their members to get a blessing. So this is the blessing that we all work together on. I mean, the approval, right, from us working with the various stakeholders to ensure that we come up with this. This was just not something that was arbitrarily done. This was done through a process. Madam Joy, I don't know what I'm saying your name well. Joy, question was about the fees that are paid by drivers at the Federation of Transport Union Bureau points around. You see, the president of the Transport Union is here. Maybe he can address that after I throw my little light on it. You see, the unions are separate organizations. They are licensed by us in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but they are governed by their own bylaws, and they elect their own membership. You know, government cannot go into that to control their pricing and all of that. We regulate them, but we don't control, say, well, charge a person 10 cents, 5 cents, except it comes to the point that it becomes too exorbitant. So, Mr. President, will you address quickly that and I can continue? So let the President of the Transport Union address the fees that.
Thank you, Minister.
Make your statement.
Kamara, I'm the President General of Road Transport Union. We work along with the Ministry of Transport, get our eligibility from the Ministry of Transport, and so the exercise that has been conducted, it was done in close consultation with us. So in fact, if you look at the reduction, it's just a little reduction. Almost what is being paid currently, we are almost like there. So because for me, I travel almost in the 15 countries, and if you look at the prices, they are actually affordable. Every other thing was taken into consideration. And what we charge is what we consider service fee. You park at our parking station when you are loaded, we check your money and give it to you, and then you give us a service fee. Just minimum amount. Whatever is collected in bulk is the fare for a bus or a taxi. So when it's loaded, there is something that you pay to all which we consider a service fee. And that is very minimal because we use our facility all over the country. In Ghana, in Tottenham, those of you that are travel, you see our facilities, our infrastructure, those cars are parked there. Some of them even spend the night over. And then whatever little service that we provide to them, they also in turn give us service fee. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just take 3 more questions and then I have to go to another function.
Thank you. My name is Desmond Will and I report for the Watch newspaper. Mr. Minister, I'm concerned about passenger safety. This is a very, great initiative. Most of times, these drivers overload these vehicles and then charge exorbitantly. Is this regulation also taking into consideration passenger safety in terms of the number of passengers that's supposed to be seated at the back and in the front in order for the regulations to be in full compliance? And lastly, my source, credible source from my institution, has informed us that there is this continuous vehicle registration that is ongoing at the ministry, taking into account the traffic management that does that. How reliable and how better can you clarify this as a minister?
Good afternoon. My name is Jackson Hali Sefa, and I report for Sam TV. Mr. Minister, my attention have been drawn to the issue of issuing driver's license. Most of the time you get at the transport ministry, you see people in front of the ministry approaching you for you to do business with them, for them to fix a driver's license for you. So what can you tell the public in line with this so that people can be misled by getting the wrong driver's license? And the second thing here is the overloading of vehicles, especially those that take things, you see buses, they pack things on top of it and it threaten the passenger's safety. What are you doing about it to make sure that the drivers comply and take the limited quantity or in line with safety procedures that passengers' lives will be much more safer?
Thank you. The last person.
I'm Larry STP and I report for Banana FM. Mr. Minister, thanks. I listened to you mentioning the funds for taxis drivers. According to you, first offense is 100, second offense is 200. But what about the buses? I didn't hear you saying something about the fund for the buses driver. Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Desmond talked about passenger safety. The regulation is in place. We know how many passengers should be in a taxi. And we know how many passengers should be in the front and back. So, but this exercise was strictly about the fares. The Liberia National Police are stakeholders with the Ministry of Transport that enforce all regulations and will collaborate and work together on a daily basis. All of the you see the police is going around now in the vehicles and the issuing tickets and stuff. We will be vigilant, we enforce this, and we enforce all regulations thereof. Mr. Desmond talked about registrations. The Ministry of Transport is the government entity responsible for all modes of transportation in the country, as enacted by the 1987 Act. Land, road, air, sea. We are the regulatory body and we are the policy maker. That stays as that. So, Mr. Siafa talked about our driver license processes. We are clear. If you want to have a driver license, if you're a new driver, you proceed at a driving school, you will get certified, and we act on those certificates and issue the driver licenses. Our process will be changed in the soonest possible time. I believe January 1st, so we'll do more enforced regulation on that. About people standing in from our building. We are not fenced. We cannot have people standing on our side, but we can control the other side. Because all citizens have the right to the street, right? I mean, it's called common easement. So we don't have the authority to tell somebody to move on the street. But we are responsible for what happens on our side and in our buildings. We have done some, if you go to the Ministry of Transport now, you see we got automated systems, fingerprint system around. You see, you can't go upstairs and say you have the authorization to do it. Even some employees cannot go in certain part of the building because we have the biometric access system there. So we are doing our best, but again, common easement, we cannot control common easement because people have the legal right to do so. But in our building and our staff, we are on the civil servant rules and other fiduciary responsibility to execute just the functions that we have the authority to do. So with this, I'd like to leave.
My question? One more question, last time, my question.
All right, one more.
Yeah, the duration in the military conduct any subject on the sustainability of this.
Okay, yeah. So I believe that I didn't check that, so I apologize. But the duration, the fares remains in force until we issue a new one. And we have a threshold. Every time gasoline prices go down by 50 cents, we act. If gasoline prices or the petroleum products in general prices goes up by 50 cents, we act. But we act in consideration of the consumer price index for related motor vehicle expenses. Primarily because of fluids, that means your brake shoes, your brake fluid, your engine oil, and other parts related, the tires, the brakes, because the drivers have to maintain their cars and they have to make minimum profit, or the profit margin as well to sustain themselves. And they have a quota to give to their bosses. So we take all of that into consideration. when you talk about survey, our people go on the field throughout the country. They take weeks out. They go from here to Harper, they go to Riverside, they go all over. With all the necessary data to collect, and then we have a model. We don't take in a model. Commerce Ministry is there to provide the guidance on the CPR for the motor related expenses. Also, we get a union buy-in. Even after that is done, we call the union, we go into a working section, and they take it back to the members, and then we come up with the regulation for the fares that we just announced.
Mr. Minister, is the ministry involved in the vehicle registration?
I have answered you. I think that's the second time.
Thank you,
The Ministry of Transport is responsible by the Act of the 1987 Act of the Legislature for all modes of transportation in the country. That's land, air, sea, rail, intermodal, pipeline as well.
Thank you, Mr. Minister.
Thank you.
Hello.
So that was the voice of Honorable Salif Talon, Minister of Transport. Honorable Talon officially announced the new transportation fees for Monrovia and its envoys as part of the ministry's continual efforts to enhance efficiency and fairness within the transport sector.
We are still in section, please.
So if you are just joining us, I'd like to say welcome. This is ELBC 99.9 FM and LATV Liberia Live. This is Honorable Florence Kitikajibo, Managing Director of the National Housing Authority. So sticking still with us, don't you go away as we bring you for coverage of MICAT. Regular press briefing, keep following.
And declare that we are all welcome here as we speak on issues concerning the National Housing Authority of the Republic of Liberia. I've come along with my colleagues. I have at my far left the Deputy Managing Director for Administration. Close to him is the Deputy for Technical Services. And I have my strong man, my project manager, and then my media manager. If you want to know their names, Mr. Prince Sabona, Honorable Prince Sabona, Honorable Alice Rebe, Mr. Ismail Brooklet, and Mr. Maxwell Davis. I want to say thank you for giving us this audience, Mr. Minister. Thank you so very much for this opportunity. I would first of all like to give you an overview of the National Housing Authority and look at the housing sector of the Republic of Liberia. Liberia's housing sector faces a severe affordability crisis with high construction costs, limited finance, and poverty making decent housing unattainable for most of our citizens. The urban areas like Monrovia, Kakata, Bukana also, the urban areas are experiencing overcrowdedness. Our urban settings across the country, with those fast-growing urban areas like you can say also Ganta, these areas are experiencing overcrowdedness. There is a lack of funding and comprehensive policies to help us improve the housing situation in Liberia. So funding and comprehensive housing development policies are a bottleneck in improving our housing situation in this republic. Also for our housing sector, because of the overcrowdedness, limited funding, and homes for our people, we have a huge slum situation in our country, especially in urban settings. We don't have mortgage banks. We don't have housing financing and refinancing institutions. And also, another major problem we have in our housing development sector is land. Every national housing authority or national housing ministry should have a land bank where you can say, this is public land that we can go and build our homes upon, or get our partners to come over and develop the homes. Our land bank and some institution is depleted completely, but we find a way out. And we're going to be discussing those later on. Now let's look at the housing needs of this country. From the study was conducted in our 15 counties, not only in Monrovia. We need 200,000 new dwelling units to reduce current crowding. We need 163,035 housing units to keep up with our population growth. We need 4,891 housing units to replace the old and damaged housing that are at 3% per annum. We need a total of 512,000 urban dwellings by 2030. These statistics were gathered from UN Habitat 2014 Nigerian Housing Profile, and not much has been done, so we are still relying on these statistics. 70% of the population live in slums under devastating housing conditions. I think all of us are a witness to that. That is a study done by the World Bank in 2020. Now, I have said all of these that it's not that pleasant for all of us. Now, what do we do to resolve these issues as a country and as a people? We need direct government of Liberia investment. The government needs to put money into the housing sector. We've just completed, as an institution, the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development proposal. And that proposal will be implemented 2026 to 2029 for civil servants housing projects. We submitted that is at the cost of $16.8 million United States dollars. We pray that we get it. We have sort of like formulated a National Housing Trust Fund and the Civil Servant Housing Access Act of 2025. This has been drafted. We passed it through some trainings, even ourselves. And someone may say, where did you get that idea from? That we should have a National Housing Trust Fund. We've attended several conferences on housing development in the region, the African region, both West Africa and Northern Africa. And what we realized is that for the housing sector to thrive, you need the National Housing Trust Fund, which will serve as a guarantee that if I come as a development partner to construct homes in your country, I can get my money back. My investment can be redeemed. So what do we have as a country that we can say, okay, we want for all of our civil servants to have a home upon retirement? We need a trust fund. That has been practiced in over 16 countries in the development community. So that trust fund the act is being completely drafted. We should be sending it to the Law Reform. I'm sure by now my legal guy has sent it to the Law Reform Commission for verification, because you know when you pass in a new act, you got to send it to the lawyers to ensure that it's not being duplicated. Your articles are not being duplicated. So that has been drafted. And then we go to the Cabinet Secretary, and then we submit it to the National Legislature for passing into law. We want to go after that fast. We have a National Housing Authority Act that was established in 1960, April to be concise, 1960, and it is obsolete. So we have worked with some colleagues and ourselves. We have also drafted an act that we amend and restate our act. And that act should be able to help us to have some regulatory powers around here. We should have some powers that will enable us to be able to license you when you're building your home. And what kind of structure are you putting down? Someone may say, what about public works? Public works is responsible for the zoning component, where you build your house, whether you're within the confines of your demarcation as inscribed on your deed. So the kind of home you build, some people build home after 1 week they're collapsing or it's sinking because they didn't consider the soil test, the soil, what kind of soil you build it on. Have you tested the soil for you to know the kind of foundation to put there? So we want those regulatory powers so as to safeguard our people, the Liberian people. So the amendment and restatement of our act will be giving us those powers. It's also being sent to the Law Reform Commission for verification. Now, at the National Housing Authority, we've had conversations with public-private partners because, you know, the government cannot handle all of the limitations that we have as a country in our housing sector. So we need partners. We've traveled across, we've traveled around. Some people have heard that Liberia got a new government. We need to go there and help them develop the country. So we have sort of like established a public-private partnership, and we've gone into memorandum of understanding. But amidst this, there is responsibility that the government has to meet. We must have the land, we must have financing institution, refinancing institution, mortgage banks, okay? So the GLL, in order for us to ensure a friendly, investment-friendly environment, we need to ensure that we have these institutions. So we have also we have to establish housing mortgage schemes to implement our housing development programs. So we have, as per these schemes, at the moment, we have been working around the clock to ensure that the National Housing and Agriculture Bank is open within months. There's a preliminary license, and that bank should be open to be able to serve us in that capacity as regards our mortgage schemes. We also have established bilateral relationships for knowledge and experience sharing. I recently returned from Ghana, held a meeting with the Ministry of Housing and Works, and we have sort of like agreed to have a team from that institution coming to Liberia to come and train, share knowledge, and then put us in one room and have a conversation on the way forward for our housing development sector. Also, I'm talking to the Sierra Leone Minister of Housing. He should be visiting us soon. He sent a messenger ahead. I have had a messenger, conversations with that messenger. I'm in conversation with the Sierra Leone Embassy situated here in our capital. So that is, all of these efforts are to help us at least be a part of the Committee of Nations as regards housing development in developing countries. I spoke about Ghana. I want to use Ghana case. People go to Ghana, they come around here, even when somebody say, I'm not carrying the person to Ghana. Why are you carrying the person to Ghana? Because they have put themselves together and put in place smart policies, smart constitutions that are helping them. And because of that, my study of Ghana, I just realized and I discovered that the real estate market value of the Republic of Ghana for 2025 is 456.11 billion. Ghana's housing sector generates revenue primarily through real estate investment, property ownership, renting out properties, and that is a very significant contributor to the country's economy. Ghana's housing revenue generation is primarily driven by rapidly growing real estate sector, significant government investments in infrastructure and affordable housing schemes. And how do the government do that? Through the public-private partnership. And one, housing financing. Now, the public-private partnership is a two-way traffic. The government has its parts to play, and the partner comes in with their own parts to play. The government should provide the land, clear the land, you provide the internal and access roads, you provide the utilities, you install the utilities. So intergovernment agencies must prepare the land, then the partner comes and develop the units on the land. Do we have the requisite funding to do that at the National Housing Authority? No, we don't have it. So we have close to 5 MOUs that we have signed with our partners. Some we are doing, like right now I'm doing 2, 3 technical proposals. We just said, go ahead and do the technical proposals. We have the MOUs. These guys have already registered their businesses in the Republic of Liberia. And we are doing the technical proposals of the kind of homes they want to build there with all of the specifications. But they cannot start the construction because we do not have the requisite land. When we go over there, land authority will say, we got land income. Chance for it. Go for another 3 different families fighting over the land. Go to the other side, then the other family fighting over the land. So it has been a disaster that has been very much challenging for us and frustrating. But as I said, in generating real revenue from your housing development sector, you need your public-private partners, because in the partnership, the comprehensive cumulative investment, the government gets 5% of that cumulative investment. If I'm bringing 35 million to build my homes in Liberia, and Liberia has prepared the land and done everything for me to build, 5% of that 5 million is for the government, is for the National Housing Authority, which is the representative of the government. So can you imagine if we have all of the variables that will attract the investor to come into our country to build the homes? Can you imagine how much we're getting at the end of the year? Or after we might have gotten 5 of our partners coming to do construction. The government should provide, Ghanaian government provides funding through schemes like the National Housing and Mortgage Fund and Affordable Housing Real Estate Investment Trust. You must have a trust fund scheme or institution in order for you to attract the public-private partners. And as I said, you must work with the private investors. It's faster. Because the government cannot make it. The government alone, what the part the government can play is to prepare the land for the investor. Then you're attracting the investor. If you do not have the land, you do not have the financing institution, you cannot attract the investor. I want to close by saying that there is a story that I love so much in the Bible about this guy called Nehemiah. And people can say, when their housing authority will do something, their housing authority can't do nothing, but they are able to do anything. And in Nehemiah's case, this guy was in slavery, and his hometown, Jerusalem, was destroyed. And then he came back home, he got favor with the president of where he was, refuge, and he went back home. And there were critics. There were people that were saying, you can rebuild Jerusalem. There are people that say National Housing Authority can be rebuilt. But I want to say, as Nehemiah rebuilt Jerusalem eventually and got the priests to come and help him rebuild Jerusalem, I want to say out there to Liberians, home and abroad, read the story of Nehemiah from Nehemiah chapter 2 to 3, and I want you to be the priest that came on board and helped Nehemiah to build the walls of Jerusalem and even the city of Jerusalem. I'm calling out to Liberians. You can come and join us to help rebuild this nation. Thank you so very much.
You have a question for the MP?
So that was the verse.
We don't have time, so we'll take 5 questions. We'll take 5 questions.
My name is Mopolu, and I report for Inside Liberia.
Can you have it quiet, or you get out, please?
Concern quickly. District 17, the government have decided to have some demolition exercise there because the land there belong to the government. But then they are claiming that most of the places that they occupy, they have already been in conversation with the housing authority long back. So I want to know if your administration is informed about the president being there with that document. Lastly, ex-President George Weah and that of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, they be estates. Who actually currently in charge of these estates? Because people believe that the roof are not okay and they are crying. Who is taking care of the estate? Thank you.
Well, my name is Joseph Sirleaf. Madam ND, I love the Bible story, about Nehemiah. And one of the things, I visited the housing authority on many occasions, and it seems like nothing happening down there. Those are usually closed at working hours. Yeah, sure, yeah, sure. I'm not arguing, yes. So what have you done since you took over that entity? Because on countless of occasions, journalists have visited that place and absolutely nothing is working there. So just give us a whole picture of, since you took over that entity, what have you done? And lastly,
Okay. Come for the press conference. You don't have interest in the composition of the question asking. You don't have to be laughing.
And lastly, it's not Minister Sano per se, but it's just the Assistant Minister for Culture. We saw our Assistant Minister in Japan. She went and visited, represented our country at Lusaka. So I want to know.
The media advisory today?
Yes, I saw it, but she's in the press call, so I just want to, I want to know, when you visited that country, and how did you advance Liberia culture? Did you have back those meetings with some of those people to see how best we can showcase the Liberian culture? And B to that, the minister made a promise on his birthday, procuring a bus for the cultural thing. What's the current update on that? Thank you.
My name is Rensi.
You the last closer we said 5.
My name is Rensi. I see we are report for a Labrador News Agency. My MD, thank you for your deliberation. Also, the similar question one my colleague asked. When I share the MICAT evacuated with 3 different persons, they were asking me whether National Housing Authority still exists. We're debating. Now, is there any achievement since you took over, I think about a little over a year now? What are the major achievements for National Housing Authority? Is there any major project that you are earmarking to only in order to keep the agency alive?
Yes, major achievement. Yes, ma'am. Thanks so kindly to Honorable Florence Katika Jibo. Yeah. Okay, Jibo, thanks for the pronunciation. We know we got to familiarize ourselves with your authority. Just as my colleague said, it's been a while. You have not been telling your own story. But thanks so kindly. I like the fact that you were trying to draw an analogy. We would also understand government between Ghana and that of Liberia. So I'm interested because I visited Ghana, and one of my favorite places in Ghana is East Legon. But when I come to Liberia, I feel very distracted and I feel very, I don't want to say disappointed. Mr. Mina. He asked a question. So I'm asking the MD as to whether there are specific plans for those structure. Let me stop it as the minister wanted to be. Are there specific plans for those structure? Those structure are the Rafi Highway opposite the barrack. I guess you know that, right? And lastly, to the government spokesperson, the deputy spokesperson of the government, the mouthpiece of the government. You describe the political leader of the Congress the Congress, that's the Alternative National Congress, ANC, as somebody who is struggling with catalyst, eye disease, that you cannot see clear. I'm concerned to know at the time in 2020 and 2023 when they all formed the alliance of the CPP, the collaborating political parties, what was the status of his eye at that time? When you people all support.
Thank you. The last person. They did not ask who accepted.
My name is Joseph Sally and I report for Latar FM and TV. So my question is to Minister Sando. You mounted a platform and you branded the opposition ANC political leader, President Kumi, as a dwarf. And to a lot of Liberians, yeah. Okay, he looked like a dwarf. Okay, he's a political dwarf. Okay, so there are a lot of Liberians out there since the return of the president from the UNGA that the president has not addressed the core issue when it comes to the issue of unemployment, the issue of phantom market road, youth employment, education, health. And there are some political pundits outside there. Your government, since taking over, we have not seen the issue, even though the president spoke about reconstituting a team that will look into the case involving the Mason boys, the auditors, and people leaving from one agency to another ministry to another through suspension, and we have not seen all of these things going into court. What is the government official response to those those citizens who feel that the president is not addressing the core issues?
Okay, thank you very much. I will address the issue of the housing sector. Every other issue, the Ministry of Information handles that. They are the government spokespersons. So in district number 17, just yesterday we were at the legislature. We met with the leadership, and there is a committee, the IMCC, that has been constituted to sort of like handle the situation there. And the situation of the demolition has been sent over to the Special Committee on Infrastructure to have further conversation with the leadership of those people that illegally occupied the government's property. In fact, they never worked with us The leadership of those communities said they work with the local commissioner of government assigned by the Ministry of Internal Affairs, not housing. They work with that commissioner and the GSA folks that are taking care of those properties, not housing authority. So for your information for correction, the National Housing Authority has no connection with those people that are illegally residing on the government property in that locality. The care of the estate, you asked the second question on the care of the estate. Of course, every estate that was established by the government of Liberia through the National Housing Authority, we are in charge of them. There are some that have been waived to the citizens, waived by past presidents to the citizens. So the citizens need to take care of their environment, their neighborhoods. And what we can help them with is to make sure that they have leadership structures in each of the communities. We regularly send our real estate folks there to sort of like follow up on the maintenance of those estates. Some said those closed, not since 2004, March, when we took over that institution. Those closed, I think I was in them in 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, you haven't been to the National Housing Authority. I, Florence, cannot be the head of an institution and the doors are closed on a working day. No, inaccurate. Okay, achievements. Since we took over, we made an institution that was so dilapidated and downtrodden. We rehabilitated the institution. There were lands and properties that were encroached upon by citizens. There were some that needed to be surveyed and deeded. I have my colleagues and I, the leadership, we embarked upon reclaiming our properties that are in the length and breadth of the Republic of Liberia. Those that needed to be surveyed so that we can say, this truly we can show title. And you know, Liberian people brave. They're telling people that National Housing Authority property here. Yet they have become landlords and landladies by themselves. Some of them are so brave. In fact, just last week, I surveyed Zese community. I will go clandestinely to go pick people mouth. And I was talking to somebody, he said, well, oh man, I think those people over there, they know me. Those people over there, they say the National Housing Authority, but they don't want to get property. Let me bring you a deal, let's see it. I was able to survey last week. And the people that were saying, let me bring you a deal, let's see it. They're trying to negotiate with us. You see, the National Housing Authority have a social welfare mandate to ensure that Liberians are housed. So everything we do it at the social welfare perspective. So those people are coming to entitlement now to the land they bear on, coming entitlement, so that you can put your leg on there and survive. Another project we are going to embark upon soon, you're going to be hearing, is to give this community a kind of urban setting outlook. So the whole Zese community will come in to make it look like housing in the city. So those are some of the things we'll be doing. And most of our properties didn't have monitors and supervisors. We have assigned people that are monitoring our properties, that are supervising our properties, that are working along with the community leadership and ensuring that we have a kind of environment that is suitable for living. So those are some of our achievements. And one other key achievement is these two policies that we're trying to pass into law. And the public-private partners that we have encouraged to come and be with us, to come and help us develop our country. So that is a major achievement for us. So we have 3 deeds since we took over, which has been a challenge. Omenga, Bentor, we've just surveyed another piece of land in Bentor, the first city. And that land right now we are doing the geological and topographical survey. We'll soon be clearing that Fenner Road. Some kind of way public works can face that road for me. So we'll be able to access Bentor. So I have a public works team that I'm working with to clear the land. And while they're clearing the land, I'm using one stone to kill 2 birds. We're also trying to make that Fenner to Bentor Road passable. So I think that is an achievement for us. Okay, the last question, Dwazon. Yes, we came and met the issue of that Dwazon, the estate opposite the barracks. And it was so huge, Liberians from the diaspora would come to my office, were in the chat room, people were crying, some people were falling off. When they come and see that properties that they have paid for, they cannot see even the ground. So we took the issues to the Minister of Justice, and very, very soon we will be getting the survey done and the deed for that parcel of land that those estates are on. And some of them are built well, some are already occupied, some are not, because 2-3 persons get one house. But we're going to handle that situation as a government very soon. We'll be getting a deed to see how we can resolve the issues over there. And also maybe see how we can have conversation with the leadership. We'll be having conversation with them and see how we can develop that place, because that's the place of the highway going to the airport.
Thank you.
So thank you so very much for being with us here. See you another time.
So that was the voice of Kangar-Lawrence Kajibu, the managing director of the National Housing Authority. So if you're just joining, I'd like to say welcome. This is ELBC 99.9 FM and LNTV Liberia Live. I'm broadcasting to you live at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. Keep following.
Let's move on. Democracy Watch. When I spoke, to the issue, I did indicate that why opposition we all sought to forge a common front, putting the interests of the country first. But what this political leader did to tear down that establishment is common knowledge to everybody. What do you think about the document and everything? And even before the election, we saw that we managed to distinguish ourselves from those who were desperately seeking power, not bearing in mind the plight of the Liberian people. And so we distinguished ourselves. But one thing we all had in common was that we wanted the pendulum of power to be shifted, because the government of the day was not serving the country well. So yes, in the end, what this political leader did clearly showed that he's very dishonest. Because the very man to whom he issued a red card when he launched a campaign on the empty ATS, the already during the election, he issued a man red card. He said the nephew of the country, where he went back and endorsed the man and voted for him in that election. So that dishonesty. Let's go to the issue where I talk about his vision. I indicated that to criticize is one thing. We live in a democracy where people will always criticize the government. But your criticism should be one that comes from a meaningful background, that is well-intentioned, and that points to a direction that benefits the country. They ask you, what do you make up the authorities in the country for the last 2 years? You say, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Even though you got 2 eyes on your head and you see all the transformation that are taking place in the country, but yet you say nothing has changed. So what do I say? That's being visionless. That means you got some optical distortion. You can't see clearly. Anybody who can see clearly will not say nothing has happened in the country. Where was Mr. Cummings when market women were claiming on walls about better resident? President Boaga is now president for close to 2 years. Have you ever heard anything about shortage of rice in the market? Not only that the commodities are available, but the price have been drastically reduced. In the thinking of Mr. Cummings, he said nothing has happened. So sometimes maybe his height is affecting his vision. I can say it, but we have to check it. I mean, I can just stand behind the podium and say nothing has happened. Of course. Paradigm has not come to Liberia, but you know the direction the country is moving. He lives in Atlanta, America, where all the sanctions that came upon the country over the last couple of years came from. Today, Liberia sits at the echelon of the UN Security Council. Yet he said nothing has changed. So how do I describe the person? You tell me. That optical distortion. Can't see clearly. Anybody who can see clearly will never see what he says. My colleague, the assistant minister, has an announcement to make, and after the announcement, we'll close the press conference for Thursday. We'll reserve all comment on the issue for Thursday.
I don't know if I'm morning or afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press. My name is Angel M. Morris, Assistant Minister for Cultural Affairs, here at the Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism. So I know it has been like a very long time since you've seen me on this platform, maybe just my first time. But today I would like to make an announcement relative to the election of the Culture Union of Liberia. So the Culture Union of Liberia was established on July 1st, 1979. And the purpose of the formation was to actually assist the National Culture Troop to provide animation for the OAU convention in Liberia. So over the past years, since 1979, the Culture Union has actually worked with the government, all governments that have come, but they have never really had a legal leadership, or let's say an elected leadership or a democratic leadership. So under our leadership, under our stewardship, we deemed it wise and necessary to ensure that we cannot have the Culture Union, which is a partner to our office, have a leadership that is not democratic. So since 1979, this will be the first ever democratic election. So this is the release of activities, and you can just pay attention. So the application process begins from the 5th of October to the 11th. All candidates who are interested in applying for the various positions, we have like 8 notes of positions. You can send in your application to the chairperson of the Election Commission, who is the Director of Cultural Affairs, Mr. Emmanuel B. Lavra. And then we have review or revision of the application process that goes from October 12th to the 14th, and that will be done by the Elections Commission. And then we also have candidate accreditation, so that will run from the 15th of October to the 17th. It will also be done by the Elections Commission. And then campaign activities will open from October 18th to the 23rd, 2025. And that campaign activities will also be just centered around the participants and all those vying for various positions in the Cultural Union of Liberia. We'll also have the official debate where candidates will be able to tell us exactly what they intend on doing as leaders of the union. And that debate is scheduled to take place on the 21st of October 2025. And the general and first democratic election is slated for October 25th, 2025. So these are the requirements, just in case there are members of the Cultural Union of Liberia who want to deem it wise to participate in this process. These are the requirements. You must be a high school graduate, first of all, and you must have served in several leadership roles for at least 2 to 3 years. And you must be a member of the Liberian National Cultural Union. So the Liberian National Cultural Union has all these private troops under them. Like you go for government programs, you don't see just the Liberian National Cultural Troop. You also see the Balawala Troop, you see the Crusaders for Peace, you see SLAD, you see the rest of them. So these are all members of the Liberian National Cultural Union. Now, we have the amount for the registration. For president, we have $20 United States. For vice president for administration, $20 United States. Vice president for operation, $20 United States. General secretary, $20 United States. Assistant general secretary, the same. Financial secretary, the same. Then we have treasurer, $15 United States. We have Champlain, $15 United States. So this is basically just all I wanted to talk to you about, centering around the Cultural Union of Liberia election. I sat down there and heard somebody ask about my trip to Japan. Maybe we could discuss that the following Thursday. Thank you.
So that's it for today's press briefing here at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So today's MICAT press briefing was addressed by Honorable Daniel Otesano, Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs here at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, MICAT. Honorable Sylvie Tyler, Ministers of Transport, and Honorable Florence Ketika Jibo, Managing Director of the National Housing Authority. Honorable Sando provided updates on a broad range of national development issues, highlighting the government's ongoing initiatives in battling the lives of citizens. Honorable Tyler officially announced the new Transportation Fairness for Monrovia on its envoys as part of the ministry continuing efforts to enhance efficiency and fairness within the transport sector. Honorable Jibo speak on current development within the authority, including updates on key housing programs and others. So once again, for those of you who have been following, I'd like to say thanks for following this live broadcast. Do join us Thursday for another edition of MICAT regular press briefing. Until then, bye from my end. I am Asiame. See you Thursday.